Most leadership failures don't start with a bad decision, they start with a conversation someone avoided. Today, we'll unpack what makes a conversation crucial, why people go silent or get violent, and what effective leaders do instead. Plus, what the heck is a pool of shared knowledge, anyways? See you in a minute.
Welcome to the Leadership Lounge Book Club. I'm Chris Duncan. I'm your host today, and I'm joined by Shannon McCoy, Alan Edwards, and Jay Jacobson. Pardon me. Good to see everybody today.
Good to be here.
Awesome.
If you're watching us live on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, we can see your comments. So go ahead and give us some feedback, ask a question, or leave us a comment. If you want to join us next week, if you want to catch up on past episodes or just want weekly reminders, all of that's on the website, sedaris.com/book club. That's Sedaris, CDAERIS/book club.
And the first rule of book club, we always talk about book club. This week, we're covering the first two chapters of the book, Crucial Conversations by 5 separate authors. The least favorite, we're supposed to come with the assignment is to come with the thoughts of your favorite points along with your least favorite points, if you have any. And in these two chapters, we want to think mostly about what we will take away and apply. So we're going to start off with Jay today. But first, let me ask a question. If you're an outsourced IT service provider and you want to stop sifting through resumes and start building your team, MSP Hire is for you. Get the right hire the first time. MSPHire.com. So Jay, start us off with answering the question, what is the pool of shared meaning?
Well, that's a term we're going to hear over and over throughout this book. And it's an important concept to get in early. When we start talking about the pool of shared meaning, it is a way of describing things that are added to the conversation that move the conversation forward versus adding things that have already been said, things that really are antagonistic, that really don't create safe space for everyone to share pertinent information that will help arrive at a better decision.
Yeah, I don't remember where I first heard this term at, but it was not in this book. It was referenced in another book. I don't know if it was Good to Great or Traction or Rocket Fuel or what. Because I was reading about facilitating meetings. And I love this concept of this pool of shared knowledge or pool of shared meaning. Primarily for me was because I had a lot of folks who wanted to say things like, as I said earlier, and that's automatically, hey, we already have that knowledge in the pool. Let's keep adding. And then we have the purpose, of course, is to make decisions based on the pool of knowledge, but you have to have all the knowledge first.
Very, very true. And when you start dumping more of the same stuff into the pool, it doesn't help move things forward. You just get stagnant. And so it's very important to recognize when you're doing that. And to, number one, we all want shorter meetings. There's nobody who wants a longer meeting. And so by making sure that anything we add to that meeting enhances it instead of bogging it down is really one of the crucial goals that we want to have in these kind of conversations.
Absolutely. And there's another really cool side effect that they mention, which is if everybody has an opportunity to add to the pool of knowledge, people feel heard and they're going to be more likely to be bought into the decisions made based on that pool of knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that's critical.
Yeah. And so, go ahead. Were you going to say some more on that, Jay?
Well, one of the things that we probably should identify is what really makes a crucial conversation. And when we start talking about that, the stakes are high. People have different opinions. There are strong emotions involved. And in my background, I lived in that world. My background is funeral service and sitting with families, and every single one of those conversations were crucial. And so you begin to learn how to navigate those conversations, and how to bring meaning to those, and provide safe space for everyone to be able to share what they want to bring to that pool of information.
I think we have a physical awareness that takes place when we know it's a crucial conversation. Our body might even have some do a couple things, maybe get heated around the ears, or the throat, the heart starts beating fast, whatever. Sometimes we can tell from that it's this is a crucial conversation could take place right now if I want to make it happen.
I wrote a note that describes that pretty well. It says, you're sitting in a meeting and suddenly the temperature changes. Someone challenges a decision, someone raises a concern, someone asks a question no one wanted to answer, someone's tone shifts just enough that everybody notices. Then you know you're moving into what is considered a crucial conversation.
Yeah, it's amazing how much those little nonverbal things are picked up by our brains. We can tell.
Well, at the same time, as you know, our amygdala is flooding our system with chemicals, and it can be hard to actually detach yourself from that feeling. Though you're like, I'm just angry. Like, why am I angry all of a sudden, or why am I shaking? So it can be hard to separate yourself, and I think that was one of the things the author was trying to impart, is being able to recognize that this might be crucial because I am triggered, upset, angry, whatever that feeling is.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I thought that one of the first chapter, I love the quote by George Bernard Shaw that set us off on a course here. It says, the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it is taking place.
Yeah.
So we're assuming this is how we do things. We're all professionals here, so we put it all on the line, put it up front on the table. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think this is also where he talks about having the importance of dialogue, and I had forgotten some of the etymology of dialogue, because die means two.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not a monologue; it's a dialogue where two people have to actually be contributing to that body of knowledge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love little texts like that. I've written a bit further. Written? Is that the right word? Read? I've read.
Yeah, coining it. Stamp the time.
I'm about halfway through it. I'm reading this, and I'm like, I like to say it's old man syndrome. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this, or I do this, but I gotta say, while I do some of these things in the book, I know the rest of the things in the book, but coming up with these terminologies and specific techniques to call them out on myself, like, you know, I know that I have messed up crucial conversations even recently, because I got emotional about it. And I catch myself many times, but not enough. And I'm hoping that reading these chapters again and having these conversations with you guys are going to help me go, wait a minute, this is a crucial conversation. Let's stop and reset here and get my mind in the game.
And I think we talked a little bit about this earlier when we were getting ready for the show. Is this particular book for me is more of a reference book when I'm getting ready to head into those kind of conversations, and I know that ahead of time. It's kind of nice to throw them on the audio book and just listen to it on the way into that meeting, so it re-triggers all those pathways in your brain. So you're coming from a place of remembering the skills that you've learned throughout this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to discuss a little bit. We did this in the opening. Silence or violence.
Mm-hmm.
I know that in a lot of the work that I do, I tend to see a lot more of the silence than I do the violence. And especially when people get silent in a meeting, it becomes very easy to accept. Like, oh, they're listening. We're good. But it's a bad sign, which leads me to my favorite piece of the first two chapters, which is that crucial conversations are usually not the easy conversation, but the right one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hard part in reading through this book so far, anyway, is that a lot of these principles and concepts we've heard over and over again in various books, and a lot of it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, as the book goes farther, it's, you know, lead with your heart, and all of these other basic concepts of having good quality conversations. And it's really easy to read, but when you're in the middle of it, it's really hard to step back and try to somehow degauss yourself of the adrenaline and refocus on the best practices of navigating the conversation.
I feel like there's a 12-step program in here somewhere because
Yeah.
step one is, right, realize you have a problem.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm heated right now.
Yeah. And then the detox is the hard part. That's got to be step 2.
Right. I made some notes about silence. It says it can look like agreement, and that's why it's so dangerous, because it looks like you're all agreeing. It looks like you're being mature. It looks like you're being patient. It can look like you're respecting each other, but it can also mean resentment, disengagement, exhaustion, or calculation. A quiet room is not always a healthy room.
Yeah, that's true, and I've seen this so many times. I do a lot of work with IT firms these days, and it's kind of a quiet type sometimes, and they're there, and like, how do you get them engaged? I have one client I'm working with now, and I'm working with the service leader there, and we have a new rule, which is that he never talks first.
Okay.
And that's take some practice, because once he starts talking, like, he's saying good, important information, everybody starts listening, but then everybody kind of just switches to listening mode. Right? We're no longer getting their input and adding to that body of knowledge. And even he's been like, wow, this is really helpful, because now that I have them engaged, the meeting's easier to run. I have less work to do. Stuff gets done. More people are involved. And it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
There's a point about where it talks about the outcome can have a huge impact on your entire life, your future, which we all know this, if we have crucial conversations or not. But it talked about it's like that impacts the quality of your life. Like if you're in, like it mentioned something about a person ending a relationship, but the way that they addressed it was the 17-year-old relationship, and the person's walking away, but they tell them on a sticky note or something like that. And I think that's and that is indicative of not wanting to address the issues face to face, head to head, for probably many years. And so that's how scared people can be of having a good, crucial conversation, to the point where they just devastate somebody else out of the blue.
I think in the business world, probably the number one crucial conversation I kept bringing up reading through this book has been correcting behavior, to the point where you might need to terminate this person, and then that conversation in your own head lasts for 1 to 2 years of bad behavior, because we're afraid to have the crucial conversation. And that conversation, yes, it might lead to termination, but at the same time, if you actually have the crucial conversation early and often, you're also likely to not have to terminate.
It mentions some specific areas, like when we critique someone, any type of confrontation, any type of sensitive issue. That's where we should become aware that a crucial conversation needs to take place, and if we have that inkling, that we're probably spot on.
I wanted to keep us on this silent or violent, because a question I'd like to hear from the room on is, why do people do that? Why do people get quiet, or why do they get violent sometimes in a meeting?
I have the opinion that some people, it's just like with people when they discipline their kids, sometimes they just turn the other head, don't say anything, just keep quiet, and they stew over it for so long that, and sometimes they just, their reaction is because everybody should know, everybody should know this. Why should I have to bring it up? And now I have to be the one to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up, but now that I'm bringing it up, I'm gonna let you have it.
Maybe on the violent side, and again, I don't see this as often, but I see it a lot in married couples, right? Or parents and children. You have a conversation, and you suddenly apply every other past conversation's pattern to it, and you jump to here.
Yep.
And so a lot of people just explode from the start, shortcutting all of the dialogue that hasn't been happening.
Wait, what happened to DEF CON 1?
Yeah.
I think after reading a good portion of this book already, that this is more innate on the person's disposition to confrontation. If they are people that like confrontation and that go steer headlong into conversation, they behave one way. If they are people that do not like conversation and steer away from conversation, I think that they steer the other way. And I think that's without any training on crucial conversations. That's the native being. Like, if I don't like conversations, it's really easy to avoid conversation or confrontation, pardon me, to when I get into one is to quickly duck out of it by just having nothing else to say. And conversely, if you really enjoy confrontation, you like debate, and it gives you some kind of burst, then by God, start throwing words into the mix. See if you can make this last all day. So I think it's a people are predisposed to one way or another, and that doesn't mean that they can't be taught. And I think it's clear from especially this reading that people can be taught. But you always trickle back down to your inherent nature. Where do you like to be? What is your brain happiest with?
Yeah. I also think some of the silence comes from a lack of empowerment. They've either said stuff in the past and were ignored in the past, or many times you do have a bully leader, and you have the traditional bully leader who says we're doing it my way. I've seen those. But you also have those people who genuinely say or act like they want input, but just because they have a title behind their name, people are like, yes, ma'am. And they get it done. So I have to remind leaders all the time that this is going to happen no matter what you say, which is also why I don't like them talking first. So whatever they say, like they rally around that. And sometimes just calling it out like, hey, I know I'm the president of the company, but I really need your input on this. Just setting that at ease to actually garner their input.
And one of the tools that we'll read about in this, when you've got people like the president of the company or the owner, when they want to get a point across, is immediately follow that up with, but I see there are some issues with this already, and point some of those out. So it gives the rest of the room permission to sort of attack the premise in a way that is somewhat freeing.
And there is one point I really wanted to dwell on, because this is something that I've messed up recently, and I love learning from my mistakes. Is I even host a little bit of a facilitation meeting for an annual band meeting where this band gets together. It's like 10 people large, and I facilitate, and I'm trying really hard to find ways to make a safe space so they can say unpopular opinions. And I struggle. I mean, they're not really paid, right? They're all volunteers. They're friends and family, and it's even harder to have these crucial conversations. And I just had one a couple of months ago, and I feel like I've failed. And the way I feel like that is, as the author said, and Jay, you reminded me of during prep, I heard about so many side meetings afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody was having their own little conversation after the meeting, and I've got to find a way, and I hope this book's going to help me to, in this environment, get those crucial conversations out there. We had a few, but there were so many that they were afraid to say.
That's a really good symptom of an organization that is not functioning with good communication, is when the meeting happens outside of the meeting. And when you can get that meeting folded back into the meeting and have some type of an agreement at the start that, yeah, we're going to disagree in here. This is the place to disagree. But when we get done, we discuss it. We're going to get behind the decision we make. And we aren't going to have a meeting 5 minutes later in the hallway.
Yeah.
So why do people feel the need to have another meeting in the hallway? Is that just feeding the gossip? Is that, did they miss opportunities to put into the shared pool of knowledge?
I can tell you from my explicit example, they still had fear to give that feedback publicly. So they collected their little clique and had that conversation there.
Got it.
There's a lot to be said about approachability with a CEO or the folks in the C-suite. If you're having a meeting and they're leading it, and you just feel like, it's, if you're always uncomfortable with being open and honest, and yet it's bubbling forth out of you, you're going to tell someone, and that's why I think that happens in the hallway. It's sometimes it's reading body language of someone else in the room
Mm-hmm.
and saying, "Hey, I have a like-minded individual over there, so I want to bounce this off of them and see if I'm crazy or not." Is it obvious?
That also points to another problem we're having in the workforce today with younger people entering the workforce, is they haven't learned to read those body language cues. Because at the time when we naturally learn that as human beings between 13 and 18, we're handing them a cell phone. And so their communication is all focused on a 4-inch screen instead of looking up and seeing how the adults are, the facial expression, the tone of voice, the body language. So they don't learn that. So we have to go back and we have to teach that to them.
Interesting. I think it's later chapters that talk a little bit about how to fix the style of communication to have these crucial conversations better.
Yeah.
Looking forward to studying that one.
Yeah, it says we're going to become masterful at this, right?
Yeah.
So
There's I think it's a single sentence in this book, but it was critical to me as well. We talk about all these conversations and dialogue and adding knowledge, adding to the body of knowledge. But when it comes to business, we are still not leading based on consensus, right? We're not making decisions based on average. What is everybody thinking? Hell, we're not even doing compromises.
Yeah.
A leader is hired experts, paid guns, to deliver this expert knowledge to the room so that leader can make a decision. And that leader might decide against their chief expert for some reason. But if done well, we can respectfully say, thank you for this information. I'm going a different direction. And hopefully you can say it for what cause to help educate everybody on how you think and how you work. But that's important. And thinking back to my band example, there is no leader. It's completely consensus. And I wonder if I got to find a different technique for that.
Yeah.
Consensus
Consensus
rarely lands on the best solution.
Yeah.
Rarely.
Moderate at best.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Chris?
No, I was saying even sports teams have a captain.
Yeah.
So it's not that they shouldn't have a leader. It's probably now who's going to be the leader, and then that'll be another thing. Then you'll have to vote.
Whoever has the cowbell, they get the lead because they're the loudest.
Probably, yeah,
and most obnoxious. So yeah,
that's true.
A lot of this, what we're learning in this publication today, it's like I'm thinking about examples too, kind of like Alan talked about facilitating the band, and I remember for the first time stepping up to facilitate strategy team meetings in a corporation, and it all stemmed from me not wanting to be in meetings all day, and I wanted them all cut down. I wanted them streamlined and wanted to have a reason. Everything had to have a desired outcome for me, right? And so but that's not the way the organization had been. And so fortunately I had an extremely humble CEO and president, in my opinion, because I had that crucial conversation. I'm telling you, it changed the whole trajectory of my life, because he agreed. He was facilitating his strategy team meeting, and everybody, we were all sitting around being, yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. Whatever you say, sir. He always made the final decision, but we were not challenging him. And I just brought that out. And normally that's not, you can lose your job for doing such a thing. But I have to say, this is one of the reasons why this book was written, is to have these amazing outcomes. Right.
Great example. I hope there's more good CEOs and presidents out there who do want that feedback. I've definitely heard horror stories, but I feel like the horror stories are the minority. So just to make sure we have a take home for today's episode, what would be the takeaway application for the people watching today? What do you want them to have? We can go around the room. Shannon, you want to start?
Okay, so I would say that crucial conversations, if once we figure out how to own that, make that happen, execute those, I think we're going to experience a much better quality of life, and it absolutely impacts our health, whether we do this or not.
All right, thanks, Shannon. Jay.
I've got written down here, the meeting after the meeting is often where the culture tells the truth.
We should record those somehow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we know what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Chris.
Since we're just getting started on this book, and for everybody who's going to follow along with us, I think the takeaway for this first episode is that I want people to start looking for those crucial conversations, just being able to spot them first. Find moments in your day where you're seeing an opposing opinion, where you're spotting strong emotions, where there's high stakes involved, and just start spotting them and just be aware of yourself and your being at that moment. And then we'll move on from that in the next episode.
Yeah, sounds great. A little gem that I take away that I would want to share with everybody is that the leader or facilitator's objective is not to win the conversation or the argument. It is simply to create that safe space so that everybody can add dialogue and add knowledge to the pool.
Yeah.
All right. Great job.
Great. All right. Let's see. Next week, we're going to continue reading on this book. We're going to cover a couple more chapters. We're going to dig into why we have to start with the heart and lead with the heart. Everybody that is following along at home, you're welcome to read along. It's going to be chapters 3 and 4, or you can let us do the heavy lifting. We've already read it, and we will guide you along the way. So we will see everybody next week. Please like and subscribe to your favorite channel to get notified when we start streaming. That's YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Thank you very much to Alan, Shannon, and Jay. I really appreciate everybody being here, especially Jay, who's coming straight out of surgery and is probably hopped up on all kinds of great chemicals.
Oh, I'm not feeling any pain right now.
Yeah, we're all jealous. Yeah. Send some our ways.
I can't wait to hear this back to see if I made any sense.
Yeah, just drool and slop. And of course, I would be remiss if I don't give a big shout out to our sponsor, MSP Hire. Thank you very much for being our sponsor.
Great.
I'm Chris Duncan. Say again?
Product placement.
There's a plug. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, we might have been paid in mugs to say this.
It's your old logo, but I'll get it updated soon.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I'm Chris Duncan, and we'll see you next week. Same time, same place, Thursday at noon Pacific. Bring the book and bring your thoughts.